All right, so you're looking to buy a Corolla, and you're like, what model should I get? I'm gonna kind of go over everything that's on the S model that will not be on pretty much any other model out there, because the S model is kind of the fully loaded version, but it's not quite, because there is the next step up, which is the XRS. But other than that, this pretty much comes with everything, or can be optioned with everything that you would want versus the base model and the LE Corolla. So if we hop in to the interior, that's where you're going to see pretty much most of the changes. So on the S model and the XRS model, they are the only ones to come with the black interior with all the black trims and everything like that. So if you want a black trim, this is going to be the Corolla you want, is the S model. All right, and so this specific model is the manual transmission, the 5-speed manual, which is actually like very hard to find in the S model itself, because I don't know why they didn't make that many manual transmission cars, and every time they tend to be a manual transmission, it was always in the base model. So, but now with that being said, you can get the manual transmission optioned with a base model, an S model, and the XRS model. You will not be able to find a manual transmission in the LEs or the XLE models. But one thing, talking about the black interior itself, is the black interior goes all the way up until right here, and then it stops, and then it's all the light interior, whatever color you want to call it, biscuit or whatever they call it. That is pretty much on every model. I don't know why they stopped halfway through and then just went the lighter color on the top. It is a pet peeve of mine that they didn't go all the way forward, but they just did that to probably save on costs. So one other thing too on the S models, I know for a fact the 2010 model came with the sportier gauge cluster, which has somewhat LED, like white LED background, but then it also has the orange illumination for the two other spots. I don't know if the 2009 came option with it or not, but I know the 2010 and the XRS models had that as an option for the sport cluster. So no other models had this option other than the S and the XRS model, because most models that came with the cluster, they just came standard with the orange illumination, as well as the they had like a chrome bezel around the tach and the speedometer. But other than that, they're practically the same, other than just looks. And the next thing too, as well, I learned this: the 2009 Corollas came with all the black trim interiors. I don't know, I think the doors I know the door trims came black. The center console also came black. And they did that for 2009 only. 2010 and up, they changed this for silver, which doesn't look bad, but I think the black also would probably look a little better than the silver, just to make everything blend in better. The stereo system, obviously this is not a factory stereo system, but the S models came with a little bit better stereo system, as well as they came with tweeters. So they have a six speaker system, which comes with one in each door, and then then they come with two tweeters as well. So a total of 6 speakers. As well as the S models could be optioned with a JBL system, which I believe came with a higher wattage amp and better speakers, and the speaker locations were actually slightly different. They were like mounted somewhere on the door. So that is something that the S models could get, while the base model and LE models would not have the tweeters installed for you. So there was something you could put in easily, because I did that on my Corolla, but they did not come standard with that. So if you're looking for a better premium system, the S model has a better sound system. So one other thing I see too is a lot of I believe the base model does not come with it at all, and the S models I believe were optioned with it, as well as the LE models, which is cruise control. So many of the S models pretty much came standard with cruise control, while the LEs and the base models were options with it, but not really many of them came with it. So most of the time when you see an S model, it will have cruise control installed from factory. And talking about the steering wheel as well, the S models came with a leather trimmed steering wheel with steering wheel controls. The base model and LE models did not come with this. And I do not think they were even optioned with it. So that was something too, is if you wanted steering wheel controls to control the volume and the previous and next track on your music, you would need to get the S model so you can have steering wheel controls. All the other ones that did not come with a leather wrapped steering wheel came with pretty much like a cheap rubber steering wheel that just didn't look good. I think the leather steering wheel looks so much better. I know on the 10.5 gen, they updated the steering wheel where it has a flat bottom steering wheel, but it's still made out of that cheap rubber material, so it just doesn't feel as nice in your hand versus the leather steering wheel. So if you're looking for a leather steering wheel, the S models and the XRS models were the only ones that came with the steering wheel. I wish I would have learned before I bought my other Corolla, but it wasn't a big deal. But if you are looking for the manual transmission and you buy the base model, you're most likely not going to have power windows or power locks. So you're going to have crank windows, and you're going to have manual locks that don't have any buttons to them. So that was one thing that I hated when I bought my base model Corolla, but it was not like a bad thing that it didn't have electronic windows, because I was actually kind of used to it. But I got the hang of using crank windows and I was pretty good with it. But having the auto windows is really nice to have. So if you are looking for a manual transmission, I would try to stay away from the base model if you want to have any type of amenities in your car. It's just nice to have all the creature comforts of at least power windows and power locks. So I mean, the upgraded stereos and stuff like that aren't as needed, but these features, everybody gets so used to them. So that would be one thing that I would say is, if you want the manual transmission, try to at least find the S model transmission, or the S model Corolla, because they come with a few more features than the base model. Alright, so if we hop on the outside of the car, one of the biggest things that the S model gets is going to be the body kit, the painted body kit on the car, which comes with the two front pieces here, as well as a bonus added S badge that you do not get on the other models, as well as the rear. So that is one thing too that you get with the S model, is you get the sport body kit that comes with it, which honestly does not look too bad. I like the style of it. And then the next thing too that comes with the S model is the rear spoiler. That will not come on any other models other than the S and the XRS models. The S model came standard with, I believe it was 16-inch alloy wheels, while the LE and the base model come with 15-inch steel wheels with hubcaps. So if you're wanting some decent looking wheels, I would recommend getting the S model so you can have nice wheels. Otherwise, I mean, if you plan on upgrading to different wheels, then it's not really that big of a deal. But if you want to have somewhat decent factory wheels, I think these look decent for a factory wheel. And then the next big thing, that a lot of S models that I saw came optioned with a sunroof. So I was reading you can get a sunroof on an LE model, but it was very rare. It is very rare to find an LE with a sunroof. So if you do find one, I guess it would probably be even more of a rare option to see, but a lot of the S models and the XRS models came with the sunroof already. So if you're looking for a sunroof, you're most likely going to find it in an S model, but you may find it in an LE. But no models came standard with them on it, so it was always an option for the Corollas. All right, and the last thing going to be on the X here are going to be the headlights. The headlights are different because they come with a smoked headlight, which has a like blacked out housing in the back, which gives a little bit nicer look versus having the other headlights which have a lot of chrome in them. So these look a lot nicer on them. So having the smoked headlights is a nice option, gives a little bit more sportier look. Or they were standard on the S and XRS models. You could not even get them as an option on any other car, so, or any other model. And then the other one too would be fog lights. Having integrated fog lights from the factory. The S and XRS models, again, were the only ones that had them as an option from factory to get fog lights. So if you're looking at a LE or a XLE or anything like that, they do not come with fog lights from the factory. I mean, you can buy aftermarket stuff, and I've done that on my other Corolla, but having integrated fog lights with a nice integrated switch on the turn signal stock is really nice to have. Then the last thing to talk about is under the hood. So all models of the Corolla came standard with the 1.8 liter engine. So no matter if you got the base model or the XLE or the S model, they all had the 1.8 liter engine, except for the XRS. So the XRS actually had a 2.4 liter engine, which made, I think, like 20 more horsepower than this motor. So it really didn't even give it that much power compared to the normal 1.8 liter. And the 2.4 liter, I've heard from the Camry, if it was not taken care of, they tend to burn a lot of oil. So that's one thing about the XRS, that nobody really liked it because it just wasn't what it used to be. So compared to the 9th gen Corolla, which the XRS had another 1.8 liter engine, but it was the 2ZZ engine, which made 180 horsepower and was a lot more performance orientated, came with a 6-speed manual and things like that. So if you take a look at my Matrix, this one specifically, the XRS model Matrix, came with the 2ZZ engine that made 180 horsepower. You can tell by just the build quality is like they have an aluminum manifold. The engine is a high revving engine. So my Matrix is a little mess right now, but well, I don't have the key in the ignition, but this car revs all the way up to 8,200, as well as comes with a 6-speed manual transmission. So it's got six gears, and then reverse is all the way over to the left. So that's one thing that Toyota just somehow forgot about. I don't know if they didn't sell a lot of them or what, but the XRS model for the 10th gen Corolla is not really anything special. So I would, if you're going to look at one, I wouldn't say stay away from them, but if you can get one for a good price and you know it's treated good, it'd probably be a great car. But if you're looking for a more performance orientated one, I would try to find a 9th gen XRS so you can have a little bit more fun with it. And the aftermarket support for those engines is a lot more than these engines. So, but yeah, that's going to be pretty much everything on this Corolla. So hopefully if you're looking to buy one, this kind of answers some of the questions that you may have looking over what the different models come with. So, but I would definitely recommend, especially for me, I had a base model Corolla with the 5-speed manual, and having all the amenities makes this car so much nicer to drive every day. So definitely worth an upgrade if you're going to look at a Corolla. At least get an LE, or if you're looking for one that has a manual transmission, get the S model and do not go for the base model. So, but with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.